Welcome to the Weekly Leadership Experience, a place for leaders to get inspired, be challenged, and grow. I am your host, Reshad Oberlander. Let's get started. Today's episode of the Weekly Leadership Experience is brought to you by my 7-day Leadership Growth Challenge. It's a free challenge that I've created, and it's delivered by email over the course of 7 days. I've created 7 compelling questions to challenge various aspects of your leadership, the way you lead, and why you lead. Go to ReshadOberlander.com and scroll down until you find the 7-day leadership challenge, or look for the link in the show notes. And now, on with the show. Hello, my friend. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Today, I'd like to talk about going from good to great and why good is not always good for you. Sometimes we need to leave behind what is good so that we can get to what's great. You can't achieve greatness if you are satisfied with just being good. Jim Collins said, "Good is the enemy of great." John D. Rockefeller said, "Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great." And the truth is that the good in life can lead to complacency. Sometimes we think, it's good enough. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's the way we've always done things. It's how we've done it. It's the way it is. How's business? It's good. How's your marriage? It's good. How was the hockey game? The team did good. You know, I had a teacher at one point, a corporate teacher, and he was a real stickler for phrasing. He would catch you on little turns of phrase that you would say as you were speaking or sharing with the class, and he would really hook into you on, well, what do you mean by that? Because he really wanted you to be clear in how you were communicating. And one particular phrase that stuck with me and stuck with the class. And I mean, it was a little bit of a running joke because it was amusing, but it was also very serious at the same time. But we would tease each other when we would catch each other saying this phrase, and the phrase was pretty good. And, you know, he would ask you, well, how was your business doing? Or how's your department doing? As someone would say, pretty good. Well, hang on. What do you mean by pretty good? Is it good? Is it pretty? Is it pretty good? What does pretty good mean? And he was a real stickler for that. And I think it's an interesting thing to think about. If you think about how you speak and someone says, hey, how are you today? And you say, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Well, what does that phrasing mean? What do you really mean by I'm good? You know, or it's good, or it's good. So think about that as we continue on with the rest of this podcast, and think about the phrasing and some of the things that you would say to describe your business or your life or marriage or sports or whatever the things are that you're dealing with in your day-to-day. And of course, when I say some of these things this way, it sounds kind of lame. There is truth to it, though. When we were little boys and little girls, we all at some point wanted to be a superhero, or a knight, or a princess, or an astronaut. When we grew up, we were going to be rock stars, movie stars, and do all kinds of amazing things. I truly believe, even in all of that childish simplicity, we each were born wanting to do something great. We didn't come into this world believing that we would just be mediocre. At some point, every little boy or girl believed they were going to fly, or do something just super fantastic and amazing. And, you know, that's what a lot of movies are made of, is like the fantastic and the amazing. And especially when you're sort of in that childish state, you just buy into those movies and you just want to experience that. And greatness is inspiring. And it's not just movies and Hollywood that can be inspiring in a movie, but there is awe when you watch Elon Musk's rocket lift off into space. There is admiration seeing Mark Inglis, a double amputee, climb Mount Everest. Mother Teresa reached millions upon millions with a simple message of love. Not everyone is going to scale the world's largest mountains, have an audience of millions, or build a rocket. There is room in each of our lives to achieve something great if we choose to. It starts with developing an attitude of healthy discontent with the status quo, being unaccepting of good enough, not being okay with average. So I encourage you to be grateful for the good and be thankful for what you have. This is not a message about always needing more or keeping up with the Joneses. It's about knowing that you can do better, that you have more to offer, that you can achieve more and have a greater impact on your life, relationships, leadership, and business. I want to be careful here to say that healthy discontent doesn't mean never being accepting of what you have and not being unable to discern when you've achieved something that's great or that you've reached a level that is really quite good. And I say good, but you know what I mean. Having a healthy discontent means that you have a curiosity, you have a wonder, you have a interest in seeing if what you have right now is truly the most you are capable of. Give yourself credit for what you've achieved, but is there something that you could do to improve it? Is there something that you could do to elevate what you're doing? Is there something that you can do to elevate your marriage, your team, your business, yourself, your kids, whatever area it is that you are thinking of right now? You know, is there something that you can change that would increase it? So don't just always strive for more, 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 more. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say is that when you get to a point where you're saying, when you think that it's good, that you think that you've reached a point that is good enough, just ask yourself, is this the best that it can be? Is there something more here that I can achieve? Is there something more here that I can grow? Is there a way to make this better? I think if we looked at many of the famous inventors and um, innovators of our history and even in current years, things would not have been invented if people just got to a point where they thought that this was good enough, that it was satisfactory. Innovation and inventions really came about because someone dared to dream of what could be more. What else out there in the world could they do to better their own life, better the lives of the people around them, invent something really amazing, really, truly, and honestly, without people who dared to dream and wish for something greater? We never would have seen flight. We never would have seen electricity and the light bulb and, you know, 3M sticky notes. I mean, all of these things, for the most part, came from someone daring to dream or someone actually stepping out of the comfort zone and trying to find out what else they could accomplish. You have it in you to create something great. What that is in your hands. Do the work. Don't be complacent. Don't settle. Build your great marriage. Be a great leader. Move your business from good to great. One of my favorite recreational passions is hiking. I love to hike. I enjoy the physical challenge and the reward of getting to a destination with a beautiful view. One of the most incredible hikes I had the opportunity of doing was the West Coast Trail on Vancouver Island, so very much on the western edge of of Canada, and it faces out into open ocean. So for a lot of the trail, you're either hiking on the beach or very close to the beach. And the hike I did over the course of about 6.5 days, and there's no real supply areas on the trail. Like you stop, and there's a couple of points where there's some indigenous tribes that live on parts of the land there, and they've set up some supply stations so you can buy some fresh caught crab and you can have a burger and stuff like that. But otherwise, on the trail, you're just carrying your own supplies, and you're packing your tent and all your living things for the course of the time that you're on the trail. And it is very much wild and has some risk, but hiking along, you always come to a new point every so often where there's a new view, and you turn a corner and there's another new view, and every moment there's a breathtaking opportunity to see the new view and have this new experience as you hike this trail. I mean, I couldn't possibly have taken enough pictures to relate to you how incredible of a trail the West Coast Trail is, and how many opportunities there were to experience beautiful, gorgeous views and have incredible experiences. The best part of climbing a mountain or hiking a trail is the view, or the view from the top. But you can't experience it without taking the first step, and then another, and another, and another, and another, all the way to the summit. I encourage you to start today. Pursue greatness. Don't settle for what's good. I'll talk to you next week. In the meantime, stay awesome.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, would you head over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, leave me a rating, leave me a review, and share this with a friend. It spreads the word and helps the podcast grow. You can also find me on social media at R.E. Oberlander. Until next time, stay awesome.